Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, host of the Free iTunes podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, but that's not why I'm here today. This is another Saving Savvy episode, and in this episode I'm going to do a little review on the Canon M100 compact mirrorless camera. So this is one of the latest of the M series cameras. This one's really designed for people making the jump from their cell phone to a compact camera. So in so being, or whatever, it's very, very small. As you can see, in fact, if I retract the lens, which you have to kind of pull this little lever like so, it's a pretty small little camera considering that this has an APS-C sensor and it also has a flippy screen. So it has the kinds of things that are going to give you superior picture quality and superior ease of use. It also has all the connectivity that you would expect in a more modern camera, including Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and near-field communications. It doesn't do 4K, but it does do 1080p video, and that's going to be more than enough for most people that are going to use this camera, even if you're going to use it for blogging or vlogging or those sorts of things. All in all, I found the image quality really excellent because this is the same sensor chip that's used in the 80D, which is their flagship APS-C camera. It also has a more modern processor where the 80D has a Digic 6 processor. This has a Digic 7 processor. The focusing is using the dual pixel autofocus, so you're going to have great live tracking when you're doing video, great face detection, and pretty snappy autofocus if you're going to use it, of course, mostly as a still camera. Not quite as fast as actual dedicated face detection, but not bad at all. And it's sufficient enough to track things like your kid's soccer game and simple things like that. Obviously, it's not designed for professional use. So what's the downside with this camera? Well, I mean, again, the small size is great, but it still is big because you have to put a larger lens on it because of that APS-C camera. So this is not pocketable, at least not in my pockets. And if you compare this to, let's say, the G9X, which uses a 1-inch sensor, I mean, this is definitely a pocketable camera. Okay, this is not. It's small, but it's not pocketable. So where I love this camera, not so much because it has the greatest lens or anything, but because it takes great pictures and it's small. This is small, but it's certainly not something that I'm going to easily, I still know that I'm going to have it on me if I'm carrying it around. It also doesn't have a hot shoe, so if you're planning on doing any sort of creative lighting, you're going to be limited there. It does have a built-in tiltable tiny flash up here if you want that. There's no microphone jack, there's no headphone jack. So things that would make this a little more compelling to an enthusiast is just not going to be there, as are the Simplified Controls. So this control has a little green camera. It has a general button and a video button. The general button allows you through the touchscreen to control just about anything you want. So there are some creative modes. You could do aperture priority, shutter priority, manual. All that is pretty easily accessible via the touchscreen, but being easily accessible and being as accessible as you'd have on a camera with dedicated buttons are two different things. And so this is going to appeal more towards, again, that person that's making the jump up, and they're going to get very good quality pictures and with the least amount of work. In fact, I'm going to show you some pictures that were taken with this camera. So I recently had a birthday party, and I gave this camera to my two youngest kids, shared it, and they took pictures of the party. And they left it in the green mode and just went around taking snaps. Most of those snaps were done just using the lighting in the room that we were in. And you can see the pictures turn out to be, I think, pretty nice. So it's perfect for that kind of situation. Much better quality than a cell phone, but yet not very complicated or intimidating to anyone. So would I recommend this camera for the enthusiast? I think if you really are looking for a very small travel camera, maybe, but again, you'll be limited. However, there are a couple places where I think this would be very useful. One would be if you're like a candid kind of street photographer. You can tilt the screen up like this, and it's very unobtrusive, or you can even keep it down like this and just touch on there, and it's going to keep it kind of low. It's going to take pictures very easily and take really nice pictures. It also would be great if you are really looking for a very small Canon camera that has an APS-C sensor. But if you're looking for that, you might want to even consider their SL2, which will allow you to use all the Canon lenses. It has a more robust set of manual controls and is a pretty nifty camera that also uses that same sensor that's in the 80D. So definitely recommended for the price. If you're an enthusiast, you might want to consider the SL2. If you're a person that just wants to take great pictures in a compact form factor, I think definitely I would say this is a good option. Here again, this option might be a little bit better for the person who's doing street photography in a candid way, just because it's so small and discreet and really not threatening. Anyway, if you get some time, please give my free podcast a listen. It's an audio podcast on iTunes and other places. It's called Psychiatric Secrets Revealed. It's myself and my wife. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist, so I'm an MD. My wife is a clinical psychologist. She's a PhD, and we talk about a wide variety of things. You also might want to check out my writing blog. It's an experimental writing blog called drmikekuna.com, drmikekuna.com. I share a lot of my personal feelings on that blog, including the angst that I'm going through now that I'm partially retired. I'm going to introduce a new feature on that blog where I'm going to interview people so they can tell their story, sort of like a little mini memoir kind of thing. That's not quite up and running yet, although I do have a few people set up to do interviews. If you have an interest in doing that, you might want to give me go to my website and and let me know. My email address and stuff is out on that website. So take care, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy the fact that we're in a little bit better weather, at least in the Midwest, and bye-bye.